And in this video we will study about DDL commands in MySQL. So DDL stands for Data Definition Language. So data definition language commands are those commands in which you modify or change the structure of your data. So this is actually different from inserting, updating or deleting a data. This is basically used when you are creating a table or when you are altering the structure of a table, then you issue DDL commands. So if you just read it over here, DDL statements or commands are used to define and modify the database structure of table or schema. So they are either used to create a table or they are used to create, alter the structure of a table, or there can be some other database structures, database objects which we create or alter. And for that purpose, we use DDL commands. So some of the DDL commands are create, alter, drop, truncate, rename. So let us try to explore and learn all these DDL commands. Okay, so I'll just go to my database and all right. I will select the database. Okay, all right. So database selected. If I say select database, then you will get this database. Now my task is to create a table, and suppose first of all let me say something. Let me ensure that all right, let me create a student table. So how will I create a table? So if you have to create a table, then you use something like this. I'll just minimize it. I think I need to escape it. Yeah, now I will go over here, and so if you have to create a table, then you use the following command: create table, and then you give the table name, and then inside the brackets you give a column name 1 and column 1 data type. Okay, so all right, I don't have a comma over here. You give the column name and then you give the column data type. So you can have many numbers of columns inside your table. For example, then you have a comma, and suppose again then you have new column, suppose column 2, and then you mention the column 2 data type, and then this way you keep on adding columns to the table. This way you create tables in MySQL. So let us create a table. Suppose the name of the table is student table. Suppose I say the student serial number, and let us so this is the name of my column, serial number, and I am telling it that the data type of serial number is int. And then I have a column, suppose student name, and then suppose it is of varchar 20, and suppose age, suppose student age is also an int, and upon one more column I have suppose date of birth, and I say it equal to be of type date. So I have created a table, and what is the name of the table? The name of the table is the student table. So once when I go and I say student, then you are getting this table. So you are getting these columns: serial number, name, age, and date of birth. So this command, see this command which you have issued over here, that is create table command. So this is a DDL command. Why it is a DDL command? Because you are actually you are creating a structure in your table. Okay, you are not creating new data, you are creating a new structure in the table. See, if I say insert into student values, suppose student name is 1, suppose name is Amit, and suppose age is 22, and then I say suppose date of birth is I can say anything, suppose he is recently born. Okay, I cannot because age is 22, so I cannot set it to current date, but let us again do it. Doesn't make any difference, just for trial and testing purpose. Select star from student. If I say like this, see here, by using this command I have created a new data inside this table. I have not changed the structure of the table, I have just added a new data. So this command, insert command, this is a kind of DML command. It is a DML command. Why? Because it is manipulating the data. It is a data manipulation language. But this command, it is actually changing the structure of table or creating some new structure. So these type of commands are called your DDL commands. So we have created the table that is called the student table. So now let us go and if I want to drop this table, then what command will you? Suppose you want to drop a table, then I will say drop a table, and then you give the table name. So if you want to drop the table, then what will you say? You can say drop table. What is the name of the table? Drop table student. So the table will be dropped. And now if you say select star from student table, you will not get it. Why? Because this table does not exist, because we have already dropped this table. So drop is also a kind of DDL command, data definition language command. So let us go and again create this table. So I have already, let me create this table again. So this table is the student table. STUDENT. This is my DE student table. This is my student table. Sorry, typo mistakes. Alright, so this is my student table. Suppose now I want to do something. I want to add marks to the student. So I have not given a column. So if I want to add a new column to a table, so what command will I use? So if you want to add a column to a table, then you use this command, alt table, then you give the table name, and then you give you write this add, and then you give the name of the column which you want to add to the table, column name, and then you give the data type. So alright, like this, alt table name, add column, and then the data type associated with the column. So here I can write alt table. What is the name of my table? Student. Suppose I say add marks, and the marks is of type int. So I have added one column. And now if you say DSC student, then you are getting one more column in this table, that is a marks column. So this is the command that you use to add some column to the to existing table. So this alter table command is also a kind of DDL command. Why it is a DDL command? Because we are not adding some new data to the student table. We are actually changing the structure of the student table. See, this is what we have studied over here. For example, if you just if you see this, DDL statements are used to modify the database structure. They are used to define, or then they are used to modify. So alter command is you are using this alter command to modify the structure of the table. Now if you have created this marks column, suppose you want to if you want to drop a column from a table, drop a existing column from a table. Suppose you want to drop the date of birth column from the student tables, then what command will you use? To drop a column, you use this command, alter table, and then you give the table name, and then drop, and then you give the column name. This way you drop a column from a table. So now if I go to my database, for example, this is my database, and now if you want to drop the date of birth column, then what command will I say? Alter table. Which table? The student table. And drop what? Date of birth. So I've dropped one column, and now if I say DSC student, I will only get serial number, name, age, and marks. So this way you can drop a column. Now you can also do something very interesting. Suppose you can also suppose now let me add one more column to the student table. Suppose this is the student subject, and suppose alter table student add subject, and suppose I write like this. Then when I say DSC student, this is my student table. So I have serial number, name, age, mark, and the subject of the student. So let me insert one data inside this table. Suppose I say insert into which table? Student table, and then I say values. Suppose there is one student 2, his name is Neha, her name is Neha, and age is suppose 21, and suppose marks are suppose 98, and suppose I say the subject is maths. Will it work out? Let us try and see. Okay, if I say select star from student, Suppose I write like this. Then you are getting the subject to be what? Then you are getting the subject to be 0. This is happening because you are setting the subject. You see the data type of subject is integer. So because it is a subject, it has to be varchar type. But I have, by mistake, I have made it an integer. So now I want to modify the structure of the table and I want to change the data type of subject, which is initially it isn't, and now I want it to change it to varchar. See, here I am inserting maths as a subject for this Neha student, but the subject is coming out to be 0. Why? Because it is not getting, properly inserted. So now I want to change the structure of the student table, and now I want to modify. I want to modify this column, that is the subject column, and I want to change it to varchar type. So what command will I use? I will just write the command, and then we will, so yeah, I'll just create. This command will be used for creating a table, and this command we use to drop a table. This command we use to add a column to a table, and this command we use to drop a column from a table. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to modify a column. So I will say modify a column. So what command will I use to modify a column in a table? I will use this command, alter table, and then you will give the name of the table. So what is the name of the table? Table, whatever be the name of the table, alter table, table name, modify, and then you give the column name that you want to modify, and then you give the new data type. So okay, like this you modify. Alright, so alter table, table name, modify, column name, whichever column you want to modify, and new date type, new data type. Okay, the new data type which you want this column to have. For example, in this case, our subject column, I want the subject column to be of type varchar. So what will I say? I will say alt table. What is the name of the table? Student table. And then will I say modify. Modify what? Subject. And I want this subject to be of type what? I want this subject to be of type varchar. I say varchar 100. Okay, so here if I say again DSC student, then what will I get? See, now the student is subject is of type what? It is of type varchar. So now let us, if you try to insert one more row, suppose the student is Amisha, and her roll number is, say, suppose 3. And now this will be properly inserted. If you say select star from student, then this will be properly inserted. Why? Because you have changed the data type of subject. All right, and you can also do something very interesting. You can also set a null value. You can, for example, if you just observe this column, this column has a default type of null. I can change this also, and I can, you see, this column can be set to null value, and it has default value of what? It has default value of null. So I can change this also. For example, I can write what? I can write modify varchar subject, and then I can say not null, and I can give a default value associated with the column also. Suppose I say default value is suppose the default value of every student subject is any subject, I think let us make it history. All right. And then once when you say DSC student, the student table, if you describe it, then see this column where subject is now, it is no more, it is no more, it cannot be set to null, and the default value of this column is what? The default value of this column is equal to history. So you can also do this. All right, let us move on. And now suppose the default value of this column is history, but now I want to change this default value of this column, and I want it to set it to suppose Sanskrit. Sanskrit is a very popular language. Um, as far as our Indian Vedic civilization is concerned, Sanskrit is a language of the gods. So let us try to modify this. So how will I do it? Alter table. Sorry, I'm making a lot of typos in this video. Alright, what table I want to modify? Alter table student, and alter what? Subject, and I will say default to be Sanskrit. There is some problem with this. Let me alter table student, alter subject, default Sanskrit. Okay, there is some problem with this. I think I need to add one more thing. I'll alter table student name, alter table table name, alter column name, and then set subject default is equal to what? Sanskrit. So now if you go and student, suppose you write like this, then the default value. So this also I can do now. I can change the default value of some column. Okay. Besides changing the data type of the column, I can also change the default value associated with that particular column. And then in the end, I can also rename a table. So what command will I use to rename a table? Alter, suppose these students are all engineering students, and I want to, and I'm engineer, and I want students of type engineer. So I don't want this table to be named student. I want this table to be named as E student. That will stand for engineering students. So what will I say? Alter table student and rename to suppose E students. So I hope there will be many engineers who will be watching this video. So, alright, if I do like this, then if I say DESC what? E student, then you will get this table. So this command also you can use, you can use this command to rename a table. So what will I use? What command will I use to rename a table? Rename a table. So alter table table name, and then I say rename to what? Rename to a new table name, new table underscore name. So these are some of the DDL commands. And yes, one more thing I'm missing, that is a truncate. So this is a very popular interview question. For example, I say select star from ESTUDENT, then you will get this. If you want to remove all the records from a table, then you will say delete from what? ESTUDENT. Alright. If you write this command, then all the records from your table will be deleted. But this delete command is a kind of DML command. See, it is a data manipulation language command. But I can also issue one more command, that is a truncate command. So if I say truncate table student, if I say like this, truncate table student command, then this will also drop all the rows from the table. But this truncate command is not a DML command like the delete command, it is a DDL command. Why? Because the operation which it is performing, it cannot be reverted back. It cannot be put into some kind of transactions, and it cannot be, it cannot be reverted or rolled back. And all the space that has been allocated for the rows of this table, that is a eStudent table, that will be deallocated. So always remember, this is the difference between truncate and delete. Okay, this table does not exist. Actually, the eStudent table exists. So if I say now, if I say select star from select star from eStudent, so I will not get any rows. So why? Because I have used this command, truncate command. Okay, so this command is going to delete all the rows from a table, but this will be a DDL operation. So always remember, this is the difference between delete and truncate. And they in interviews many frequently they ask what is the difference between truncate, delete and drop. So drop is this table structure is remaining. If you say student, this table structure is always here, but the rows have been deleted, and truncate is a DDL command. But if I say drop table student, then the whole table will be dropped. And if we say DSEST, the structure is being dropped. So this table will not exist. Okay. So truncate is a DDL command. Always remember this.